Oh boy, let's review the Doctor Who Reality War episode. So, I suppose let's do it for one final time. The one final time where Shuti Gatwa is the Doctor. Roll the intro. Okay, first of all, I'm going to make tons of videos talking about the future and the regeneration of obviously the Shooty Gut was Doctor and obviously the upcoming things that might happen obviously in the future. So stay tuned for obviously my reaction to the regeneration, obviously, and I also have like a reaction to the War Between the Land and the Sea trailer coming up too. I'm going to review or I guess make a tier list video about Shooty Gatwa's season 2 episodes, but also Shooty Gatwa's entirety of series, and going to rank those episodes as well. So, okay, let's talk about The Reality War. The Reality War was the 8th and final episode of Series 15 of Doctor Who. It premiered on the 31st of May 2025. The story featured the return of Omega and an active role as an antagonist for the first time since the 5th Doctor story arc of Infinity, now voiced by Nicholas Briggs, with this story revealing Omega's time spent trapped in the under universe or underverse had physically altered and deformed him into a monstrous corpse-like being. The story also shows the apparent fate of the bi-regenerated Rani at Omega's hands, while Mrs. Flood, incarnation of the Rani, escapes shortly after witnessing her successor's apparent demise. Obviously, the episode started off really strong. Obviously, the Doctor was falling down into the Underverse in this sort of balcony or on top of this balcony or whatever, and I was like, "Oh boy, how is he going to get out of this? I mean, how?" I was wondering entire week. I was wondering how will he survive, but it was so clear and so obvious because he was saved by the one and only Anita from the Time Hotel, which obviously makes a lot of sense because she was able to open up doors anywhere because now she works there and she can open up doors anywhere in the entire timeline, obviously. So, obviously, in the Joy to the World episode, we found out that the Time Hotel was in the future and that this hotel was actually able to visit many locations or different time periods, and that's very interesting. Obviously, it's capitalistic, a hotel making sure that time travel is one of their, supplies, I suppose, if that makes sense. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so that was interesting. So Anita saves the Doctor, and Anita knows that the future is in risks or is in risk to eventually be gone, because obviously in the previous episode was Wish World, there was a brand new reality created where obviously Conrad and the two, Ranis ruled, and obviously they wanted to bring back the Omega, the god of time, I suppose. I guess now he said, well, in this episode, he said that he's now the god of time, I suppose. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the Doctor and Anita make sure that the timeline will still be fixed or will still be available for the future. So a lot of time travel shenanigans. They go back to Unit HQ, which is like this finance bureau, and Anita holds the door open for the normal time to slip in. It's kind of weird. It's kind of time travel, whatever. Okay, but I found it really nice that Anita had some kind of role in this episode. So, anyway, the Rani reveals how she survived the Spy Master's genocide of Gallifrey, and that the genetic explosion caused by the Spy Master had rendered any surviving Time Lords and the Time Ladies completely sterile. Or, yeah, that's very interesting. Which was why she enacted her plan to find Omega in order to save their race, though with the purpose of creating a new Gallifrey she could rule over. In addition, her ability to follow the Doctor throughout time and space is revealed to be accomplished by use of a time ring rather than a TARDIS. So interesting. Steph Whaley also returned as Anita, like I said, where it's revealed she began working in Time Hotel after Joy to the World. Okay, already mentioned that, and had been looking for the 15th Doctor and doing so. Archive footage, yes, from the wedding of River Song, where we saw Matt Smith, and Day of the Doctor, or no, Day of the Daleks. There we go, where we saw the third Doctor, respectfully, would be used to have Anita. Yeah, okay, so she met the third Doctor and the 11th Doctor. Before archive footage of Rogue is used when Anita finds an early version of the 15th Doctor during the event of that story. Before departing, Anita would mention the boss, who was previously mentioned by Beep the Meep in the Star Beast. In addition to the Doctor's previous incarnations appearing through archive footage, Jodie Whittaker makes a surprise appearance as the 13th Doctor near the end of the story, making her first appearance since the power of the Doctor. Most notably, this story was story was the final chronological appearance of Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, with the story ending with his regeneration caused by him sacrificing his current incarnation in order to bring back Poppy back into the existence. The Doctor's regeneration in the story was also the first time since the parting of the ways in 2005 that the Doctor had regenerated at the end of the current series. In the revived run of the series, starting from the end of time up to the giggle, the Doctor would have been seen regenerating in either Christmas or a New Year special set in between a numbered series, which is really interesting. So the episode was kind of confusing. It dealt with a lot of time travel and a lot of reality warping. So, like I said, the 15th Doctor made sure that Anita was able to save the timeline. So there we go, by holding open the door from the future, so the normal time would slip in the old Wish World reality, and all the other characters like Kate Lethbridge Stewart and obviously Shirley Ann Bingham and Millie Gibson's character Ruby Sunday would also get their memory back. Ruby Sunday's character already had them back because she knew that this reality was not what it was. Because she obviously was in 73 yards, and the entire reality reality warping manipulation thing in that episode was also explained. So maybe her effects, or maybe the effects of that story actually got brought back for this reality war episode. It's kind of confusing, I know, but yeah, I know. But alright, yeah, Belinda Chandra and the Doctor eventually, it gets revealed that they have like a daughter, which is quite shocking. I was like, holy shit, that's insane for this, for the show. If that were to happen, Belinda would actually be a proper, like, big part of the Doctor family, which is really interesting. But then suddenly they were in the TARDIS and they were like folding this coat of like, I'm not quite sure, or like Poppy's. They were folding something, like they were folding Poppy's jacket, and it became smaller and smaller. I didn't even notice it because I'm not quite sure, and then I saw it later down in a video on YouTube, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, it became smaller and smaller until Poppy ceased to exist. So that was really interesting, and obviously Ruby Sand is mentioning that, Poppy is gone, but the Doctor and Belinda, not knowing what happened, they thought that Ruby was kind of lying, which was kind of weird and, bizarre to see, because the Doctor would always believe his companions, no matter what. And yeah, it was like that, Ruby was a bit sidelined for this episode, especially with like season 2, like we had Belinda and we had the Doctor, and then we had Ruby, and I'm not quite sure, but in the first series, the Doctor had a really nice, obviously, relationship with Ruby, like platonic. Obviously they were best mates, but then obviously in series 2 Belinda got introduced, and it was like that, Ruby got sidelined. But eventually the Doctor gives in and tries to save Poppy again, but he needs to obviously, I don't know, use his regeneration power to make sure that the reality clicks back to 1 degree and everything is normal again. Which, okay, yeah, sure. The Doctor, I guess he would sacrifice himself for the greater good, which makes sense, obviously, for the Doctor. But the episode felt sometimes so rushed and sometimes so calmly. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's the pacing of the episode, but or the writing of Russell T Davies, but I was like, okay, the first 10 minutes, man, that was like an orgasm of things, man. You had like the third Doctor, you had the 11th Doctor, you had Anita back. I was like, damn, okay, this is really nice. Then you had the reveal that Poppy might be the daughter of the Doctor, but whereas Susan in all of this, like Susan wasn't in this episode at all, which was so insane to see, because in the previous episode, Wish World, she was seen, obviously, and also the episode before that, Susan is just gone, like this episode, which was quite weird to see. So after, I think, the 20-minute mark, or like the 25-minute mark, because this episode was an hour long, you had like it had a calm moment where obviously the Doctor wanted to know Poppy more, and he wanted to have a little family in the TARDIS, and then it became quicker again after they realized that Poppy was gone, and then the Doctor needed to, to stop this reality from, becoming a mishmash of things. It was weird. Like, the episode was good, but there were so many things off. Like, Rogue was missing in the episode. I know that the actor wasn't able to, maybe come back because he might be a busy man too. And I guess Susan was not here. It was like a 3-story based episode. Like the episode was cut into 3 different stories, which was weird. They needed to defeat the Ranis with Omega. They needed to bring back Poppy, and obviously the Doctor needed to sacrifice himself eventually. Which, yeah, it's a bit bizarre because, like I said, the episode was fastly paced but also calmly paced at the same time, and yeah, that was interesting. And not only that, was obviously the Doctor trying to save the reality or the universe for this Poppy girl, for this cute little girl. And well, it gets revealed that Poppy wasn't actually his daughter. It was actually Freda Sathus, or like Belinda Chandra's daughter, that she made with some kind of like Richie. I'm not quite sure. So Richie was the father, the real human father. And that was weird because I really thought for a second that the Doctor might actually have a daughter now, but it gets explained that obviously the Time Lords are infertile, so they can't have children. And I guess by regeneration is like actually them, multiplying in a way, which sounds weird, but I guess it makes sense. I'm not quite sure. Russell T Davies is like literally putting things in our throat, like Time Lords are infertile, guys. They can't have children. So I'm not quite sure. Like maybe in the future that can be retcon. Probably not because it's part of the story. But is it really necessary to let those things happen? Like, for example, David Tennant's 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler had a really, romantic relationship. So maybe Russell T Davies was already like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe the Doctor needs to stay like, lonely. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, I need to talk about the reveal of the big regeneration. Yes, obviously I'm going to make a separate video more discussing that. I just want to talk about the small things, obviously the main things in this video. So I guess let's just play you a clip from 2022 where Christopher Eccleston talks about someone or something.
Russell T Davies is coming back, right?
Yeah, which that's exciting.
And who's going to be his Doctor? I think he should be Billy Piper, actually.
Yes! Yes!
Catherine Tate's great, but I think there's your Doctor. And I'd like to see you all struggle with it. How can she be the Doctor when she was an assistant? I like the idea of it blowing fuses in the cannon, or whatever it's called. No, this cannot. Dissonance.
Yes, so big reveal. Obviously, the 15th Doctor was at the end of his life, and he needed to regenerate. And in a twist, however, the reality war and the 15th Doctor's regeneration would end with Billy Piper, having previously portrayed 9th and 10th Doctor companion Rose Tyler, being introduced in the final moments of the story, and with her role being left uncredited. So, I don't know what's going to happen, man. I'm not quite sure. I'm so afraid that whatever might happen. Obviously, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, but this episode felt so off. Like, there are rumors and speculation that this episode had a different ending, an ending where, you know, Doctor and obviously Belinda and Ruby had a nice little party. There were like I guess pictures of that leaked online. I'm not quite sure, but now the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, that we've only had for like 2 bloody years, regenerated into a fucking nostalgia bait, man. I don't get it. I don't give a shit actually about Billy Piper. I don't give a shit. Like, it's so weird. Obviously, I love Doctor Who, but the thing is, it's weird. Like, that's the only word I want to describe it. Like, Ncuti Gatwa has been my Doctor for 2 years. Obviously, also for a lot of other people, he has been their Doctor for 2 years. We got introduced to his character wonderfully. He's like the Doctor of healing, right? He cried. He had so much emotion. Suddenly, just rip him away and just put Billy Piper there. Like, no hate towards her, but in the part of the story, it didn't make sense. Like, the 15th Doctor had so much left. Like, literally, he had so much left to do. Like, meeting Rogue again, meeting Susan, perhaps. Maybe defeating a Dalek, 1 or 2, or maybe the Cyberman. I'm not quite sure, but this Doctor, the 15th Doctor, is the only Doctor that has never faced the Daleks before, which is so weird. That's insane. Wow, that's crazy. I'm not quite sure. Like, I loved the way Ncuti Gatwa acted in this role, and I just loved the 15th Doctor. But it's weird that obviously Bill Piper isn't credited as the Doctor too. Like, I'm not quite sure. Like, it left a sour taste in my mouth, if that makes sense, right? Like, the episode could have been so much better. The 1 hour mark, perfect. It's great. And also it was released on the same time that that Disney Plus and BBC aired it on the same time. Perfect. Nobody could get spoiled. It was nice. Then you ruined it with the 15th Doctor regenerating. Ncuti Gatwa is an absolute fantastic man. I loved him. I just wanted to see more of him. And now Billy Piper is here. I'm going to talk about that and obviously the future video that I just mentioned. But it's weird, man. The entire secret with Mrs. Flood and obviously like Sutak. Oh my god, he's the second Rani. They were all so much, built up. And then the end, obviously also with Ruby's mom, like they were building up those stories in an entire series or 2 series, and suddenly just snap your finger, it's gone. Like that's not really how you do a story, no. But it's alright, because I know in a while I'll get used to it that Ncuti Gatwa wasn't the Doctor anymore. He's a sought after actor, obviously, but it's very weird, and I'm not quite sure. The episode was pretty good, and I don't know. Like, it was nice seeing the 13th Doctor again. Yes, Mummy 13th Doctor was there. That was so awesome to see. That was really nice. And obviously Ncuti Gatwa eventually also saying this was an absolute joy, obviously referring to Joy that became the star of Bethlehem. Yes, Doctor Who shenanigans, but yeah, no, I think the episode could have been better, obviously, but I'm not quite sure. Like, I need to take time with it, and like the more I see, the more opinions I hear, I get used to it, obviously. But for me, Ncuti Gatwa was one of my favorite Doctors. I'm not quite sure why, but maybe because he was so emotional, and because he said I loved you or I love you or something like that. I was like, yeah, this man is really good. Then you rob him with like nostalgia bait, and Billy Piper, she might do it very well, and obviously now she also is the Doctor together with currently also the 14th Doctor is still around, so the 14th Doctor and the 16th Doctor might meet up, and they might do one hell of an adventure or episode together. Maybe they bi-generate into, I don't know, like Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. I'm not quite, no, just kidding. I'm not quite sure. It left a sour taste in my mouth, like I said, but yeah, we just need to wait and see. But alright, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this review. Yeah, just let me know what you thought of this episode. If you did like it, if you didn't like it, just let me know. And I guess, Doctor, I'll let you go. Ariyama! Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will check you later. Goodbye, everyone.